Hello, it's day 177, and I want to talk about artificial sweeteners. Americans have a weird relationship with sugar. We're taught from a very early age that the only acceptable amount of sugar to eat is none, and that if you crave sugar in any amount, that's a failing of willpower on your part. Yet despite this, sugar is absolutely everywhere. It's in all the places you would expect: candy, chocolate, ice cream, pastries, but it's also in places you wouldn't expect. It's in most of our drinks. It's in all of our sauces. It's in all of those prepackaged, pre-made meals that get marketed toward us so aggressively. So maybe it shouldn't come as a surprise that out of our weird love-hate relationship with sugar has grown a weird love-hate relationship with artificial sweeteners too. Because even though it doesn't get said directly, we are taught to have a punishment mentality about sugar. You eat sugar, you go to the gym, punish yourself, work off all those bad calories. You eat sugar, punish yourself mentally. Tell yourself you will never do it again. You'll never eat the bad sugar ever again. And so, some people think of artificial sweeteners as a way to cheat the diet gods, a loophole, a way to have their cake and eat it too, literally, as long as there's aspartame in the batter and not like real sugar. And because of that loophole thought, weird rumors popped up around artificial sweeteners, particularly aspartame. People would tell you that it causes cancer. Lab rats with huge brain tumors, right? I remember back in the 90s, I had a cousin who wasn't even allowed to touch the little packets of artificial sugar at the restaurant for fear that the cancer-causing chemicals would leach out of it and get into her skin. And even though there are whole battalions of scientists studying these food additives every day in like hundreds and hundreds of studies, you'll still find people who will tell you that no, you shouldn't eat saccharin, no, you shouldn't eat aspartame, it'll definitely cause cancer, even though I think that got disproved like back in the 90s. That's not to say, however, that artificial sweeteners have no side effects. Sucralose, for example. Everybody's heard of the sugar-free gummy bears that cause like volcanoes of people. Don't look it up. Don't look it up. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Just a stomach upset, let's call it that. Or stevia, right? A lot of people swear by stevia, but I personally think it tastes like going outside, getting a little trowel full of dirt from the lawn, and just shoving that right in your mouth. Maybe a little bit of sweet, mostly grass flavor. Or even on the other side of things, you have people who'll tell you you can eat fructose, but you can't eat sucrose. You can eat glucose, but never eat fructose. There's like all these different kinds of sugars. Some are bad, some are good. But I think that, like most things with diets, this comes down to personal preference. I hate artificial sweeteners. I think they taste gross, so I don't eat them. But I do know a lot of people who have really changed their lives using artificial sweeteners. They've used it almost the way you would use like a nicotine patch. They've weaned themselves off very high calorie, high density diets and indeed lost weight and became more fit because they were able to use artificial sweeteners to lessen their cravings when they were having them. So just like everything else with intuitive eating, it comes down to listening to your own body. If you like artificial sweeteners, go for it, but don't overdo it. If you prefer actual sugar, go for it, but don't overdo it. Everything in moderation.